The New York Times sent out a tweet within moments of these children being murdered, blaming the NRA for it. Is there any evidence that the shooter was an NRA board member? Is the NRA related to this? What is this?
It's the typical. They take tragedies and they politicize them. And it's ridiculous at this point. But the one thing I want to point out is that withstanding all of the political nonsense and all the politicians on that side pushing for gun control and so forth and so on, there's a wide swath of people in the middle who are literally, their only goal is to keep our kids safe. That's it.
Yes.
That's our only goal.
Yes.
And some of us differ. Some of us differ in terms of, how we go about doing that. That's really what the conversation is about. But by and large, we don't really get to have these conversations because our political leaders instead are playing political games with each other. So we never really get to have those conversations. And at this point, we've been dealing with school shootings for quite some time now. And I think it's time for us to have like an actual conversation and understand that at the end of the day, anybody who decides that they want to do something like this should immediately know that attacking a school is a death sentence for them. It shouldn't even be an option in their mind because our schools are so hardened. I can only imagine if Joe Biden had younger kids and they went to a certain school. You know how hard it would be to attack that school? These kids are the most precious things we have. So not putting them in a position where they're the most protected as well is kind of odd to me. And I think the reason why it even hasn't happened at this point is because the leaders who are supposed to be having this conversation on a national level aren't having it. They're politicizing everything. And all we want to do is keep people safe.
So do you expect that rather than, because this is the pattern we've seen time and again, rather than address the details of this specific shooting, did we know this person posed a threat? Who failed to address that threat? Why was this person mentally ill? Et cetera, useful facts from which we can learn to prevent future mass shootings, that you'll immediately see, perhaps in the president's remarks tonight, a push to reintroduce pre-existing plans to disarm everybody else but the shooter.
I mean, look, as far as I'm concerned, making people helpless is never going to help them.
Yeah.
It's never going to work. However, we have these politicians who they immediately will go to the same talking points or rhetorics, and that's because they like to oversimplify problems so that they can talk over people and get people to do their bidding as a means to gain more power. They take advantage of these situations, and it's disgusting if you ask me. And so all we're saying here, at least in the gun community side of things, is we don't carry firearms just because they're fun, just because we want to seem like we're one way or the other. We carry firearms because we want to protect lives. That's the whole point. But what they end up doing is what they do best is vilify us and then honestly try to make situations like this apply to the 100 million gun owners that we have in this country. And that's just unfair.
Right. And we did see a week ago the President of the United States use a tragedy in Buffalo to lecture everyone who didn't vote for him that they were somehow immoral and criminals rather than addressing what actually happened. And that's really kind of the last thing the country needs is more of that, more division from the president.
Well, but then they also know that the things that they're proposing on the merits, you really systematically sit down and break them down, they don't work. It's like gun control doesn't work. It isn't just a talking point. We understand they don't work because they've been trying to push it for decades, and yet we still are sitting here having this conversation.
Yeah.
And they don't want to have the real conversation because they know on the merits, we are right when it comes to the idea of protecting and saving lives.
Well, there already is gun control, of course, and as far as I understand, this kid was in violation, the killer was in violation of Texas gun law. But of course, the fact there was a law didn't stop this, so.
We talk a lot about empowerment in this country, except for when it comes to the Second Amendment. However, I can't think of anything more empowering than having the most effective tool to protect you and your family. So help me spread this message by liking and sharing this video with everyone you know. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment, because the Second Amendment, when it said militia, it wasn't talking about the government. It was talking about you. Also, if you want to know where to find the I'm the Militia shirt and merchandise, click the I'm the Militia link in the description section of this video. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And most importantly, make sure you hit that bell symbol.